A shrill general quarters alarm tears across the flight deck. Gunner S-mate second-class Tommy Rodriguez tightens his grip on the twin handles of his 40mm Bofors anti-aircraft gun. High above the carrier, a formation of Japanese Yokosuka dive bombers plunges toward the American task force. This is no ordinary attack. It is the first coordinated suicide assault in naval history. The aircraft scream downward at terrifying speed, engines howling as they accelerate past 400 miles per hour. They are coming straight in, Rodriguez shouts to his crew. He swings the gun upward, tracking the lead aircraft as it twists and dives. His iron ring sight shows him only where the enemy plane is at that exact moment, not where it will be when his shells arrive. He opens fire. Tracer rounds streak upward, slicing through empty air behind the diving bomber. All around him, dozens of anti-aircraft guns thunder in desperation. Shells explode harmlessly in the sky as Japanese pilots close the distance. These attackers do not intend to survive. Every aircraft is now a human-guided missile. What Rodriguez does not know is that deep within his own ship is a device unlike anything the Navy has ever fielded. A compact invention once dismissed as absurd, designed by a university professor with no combat experience and no military rank. Within months, this invention will redefine naval warfare and save tens of thousands of lives. Early in the Pacific War, American anti-aircraft fire is catastrophically ineffective. During the first 2 years of fighting, U.S. naval gunners managed to shoot down barely 3 enemy aircraft for every 100 shells fired. Japanese pilots attack with confidence, understanding that surviving the wall of flak is largely a matter of speed and luck. By late 1944, American ships have fired more than 400,000 anti-aircraft rounds in combat. Fewer than 13,000 of those rounds have struck enemy aircraft. The math is unforgiving. The weapons exist, the ammunition exists, but accuracy does not. The rise of kamikaze tactics turns this failure into an emergency. Traditional air defense relies on discouraging pilots from pressing their attacks. That logic collapses when the attacker expects to die. Deterrence becomes meaningless. Behind the scenes, a quiet crisis has been growing for years. Since the First World War, military engineers have struggled with one fundamental problem. How do you hit a fast, maneuvering aircraft with a projectile that takes several seconds to reach its target? A 40mm shell fired toward an aircraft 4,000 yards away requires roughly 3 seconds to arrive. In that time, a plane moving at 400 miles per hour travels nearly 1,800 feet. Gunners must aim at empty sky, predicting a future position that changes every fraction of a second. Aircraft do not fly straight. They climb, bank, dive, and jink unpredictably. Human reflexes are not fast enough to solve this three-dimensional puzzle under combat conditions. The Navy attempts mechanical solutions. Massive fire control computers fill entire rooms and require teams of operators. These machines work on paper but fail at sea. They are slow, fragile, and incapable of adjusting instantly to sudden maneuvers. By 1942, senior officers quietly admit that anti-aircraft gunnery is more intuition than science. Better training is offered as the solution, even as mathematical reality proves otherwise. Contracts go to industrial giants: Westinghouse, General Electric, Ford Instrument Company. Each proposes increasingly complex machinery. None produce meaningful battlefield results. Meanwhile, sailors pay the price. Enemy aircraft penetrate defensive fire with alarming regularity. Ships burn, crews die, and the gap between what technology should be able to do and what it actually achieves continues to widen. In Cambridge, Massachusetts, far from the Pacific Front, a man with no stake in naval tradition begins thinking about the problem from an entirely different direction. In the spring of 1940, Dr. Charles Stark Draper sits in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology faculty dining room, sketching equations on a napkin between bites of lunch. At 38, Draper is not a weapons engineer. He has never served in uniform. His expertise lies in precision instrumentation and gyroscopes, devices most naval officers could not describe. His laboratory looks more like a machinist's shop than an academic workspace. Lathes, drill presses, and spinning test rigs fill the room. Draper believes deeply in hands-on experimentation, insisting that theory must prove itself in metal. During a lunch conversation with pilots and engineers from Sperry Gyroscope Company, someone mentions how difficult it is to hit moving targets from the air. Gunners can strike stationary objects, the pilot explains, but fast movement defeats them. Draper stops eating. His eyes fix on a small gyroscopic instrument resting on the table. If a gyroscope can measure how fast an aircraft turns, he wonders, could it also predict where that aircraft will be? What if the gun sight itself could lead the target automatically? The table falls silent. The idea sounds impossible. A small mechanical device that anticipates motion rather than reacting to it. But Draper sees elegance where others see impossibility. His gyroscope does not need to think. It only needs to measure motion with extreme precision. Within weeks, Draper becomes consumed by the idea. He studies ballistics, interception geometry, and optical design. His notebooks fill with calculations, linking angular velocity to lead angle. Instead of replacing the gunner, Draper plans to enhance the gunner. The human tracks the target. The device corrects the aim. By late summer of 1940, he has solved the theoretical problem. All that remains is to build it. Late at night in his basement laboratory, Draper assembles a crude prototype. A rectangular metal box, no larger than a shoebox, is bolted to a modified rifle. Inside, a gyroscope, the size of a coin, spins at 24,000 revolutions per minute. An optical system projects an illuminated reticle onto angled glass. When the gunner moves the weapon to follow a target, the gyroscope measures that motion and shifts the reticle automatically. The sight now points not at where the target is, but where it will be. Draper tests the device using a moving cloth target rigged to swing across the room. Shot after shot misses as he refines the mechanism. Hours pass. Adjustments become microscopic. Near midnight, the system begins to work. The final test simulates a banking aircraft. Draper tracks the moving target smoothly and fires. The bullet passes directly through the center of the cloth. He understands immediately what this means. A problem deemed unsolvable has been solved with simplicity. When Draper presents the device to military officials, the reaction is brutal. Navy engineers laugh openly. A spinning gyroscope mounted on a gun sight sounds like fantasy. Decades of conventional engineering stand in opposition, yet Draper insists on a demonstration. At a firing range outside Boston, targets are pulled across the field at varying speeds and angles. Draper fires. Every shot hits. Skepticism turns to stunned silence. The gyroscope is not calculating target speed or distance. It is measuring motion, and motion is enough. Within days, the Navy authorizes experimental production. By early 1943, the new gyroscopic gun sights begin appearing aboard American warships. Training times drop dramatically. Gunners no longer guess lead angles. They simply track and fire. Combat results follow quickly. During early engagements, ships equipped with the new sights achieve kill rates more than 3 times higher than those using conventional aiming systems. As crews gain experience, effectiveness climbs even further. Then come the Kamikaze attacks. Back aboard the USS Enterprise in October 1944, Jaime Rodriguez peers through a sight that did not exist a year earlier. As the diving aircraft screams toward him, the illuminated reticle shifts automatically. He keeps the plane centered and fires. The shells intercept the attacker thousands of yards from the ship. Around him, other guns repeat the process. What should have been devastation becomes defense. Across the Philippine campaign, ships equipped with the gyroscopic sights achieve unprecedented success rates. Japanese pilots report that American fire now meets them precisely where they are headed, not where they have been. Intercepted enemy communications reveal alarm. Tactics that once worked no longer do. Approaches that once slipped through defenses now end in destruction. By the end of the war, more than 85,000 of these sights equip American and British vessels. Anti-aircraft accuracy increases by more than an order of magnitude. Tens of thousands of sailors survive attacks that would previously have been fatal after the surrender of Japan. Nearly every major Allied warship carries the device once mocked as impossible. Dr. Draper never claims credit. He returns to his laboratory, applying the same principles to navigation systems that will later guide submarines, missiles, and spacecraft. The gyroscope that saved ships becomes the foundation of modern inertial navigation. Today, the legacy of that small spinning wheel lives on in aircraft displays, missile guidance, and space exploration. One man solved a mathematical problem that institutions believed unsolvable, not by louder authority, but by quieter precision. Before you leave, consider this. How many breakthroughs are delayed simply because they do not come from the expected place? If you found this story valuable, support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. More true stories of overlooked genius and quiet innovation are coming next.